make this lovely fun fold scene card. Now the measurements to actually make the card, because it's a 7x5 when you fit it in an envelope, it is actually the measurements of Ice Gem, I think she calls herself. The mats and theirs, I'm not sure what hers were, but these are my measurements. She did a one across, whereas I've wanted to do that corresponding with that. So my mats and theirs could be different to hers. Right, so without further ado, let's start off with our scene first. So what I'm using is the Ocean Front, I think it's called. Let me just check. Yes, it's Ocean Front, because I really love all these, and I don't know why this didn't carry on forward, because it's a great set. It's wonderful to be able to make scene cards with. So I'm going to start off with the sky in Balmy Blue, and this piece of card that I've got measures 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. So I'm going to ink up my stamp with Balmy Blue, but I don't want it to be as dark, so I'm stamping off first. Now I'm going to stamp that fairly central like that, and then I'm going to go back in, stamp off, then I'm twisting my stamp so that it goes to carry on, and then I'm going to ink up again, stamp off again, and then I think I will do it that upside down. I'm stamping that little bit there, so I'm carrying on there, and I'm going to go in again and go further. So I'm going to turn it round actually and stamp a bit into it there, and stamp off again and stamp that there. So it's got lots of different things going off there. I'm just going to come a little bit further down, but I'm going to change stamps now. So I'm just going to wipe this stamp clean. So if you've noticed, I clean my photopolymer stamps with the chamois, but when I use the rubber stamps, I always use the Stampin' Mist and the Stampin', don't know what it's called, scrub mat. Okay, so I'm going to put that one on now and go back in again with the Balmy Blue. Hang on, I didn't quite get that loaded up properly, and I'm still gonna go round there and still take a bit down there. Oops, that didn't work very good. I don't know. I was that concentrating on, that's it. Right. And if you feel you've missed any areas that you feel are too white, you can go back in and make them darker. Okay, so I wanted to create this kind of hill setting, so that's finished with Balmy Blue now. So finish. Each one of these scenes will be slightly different. You never do it identical each time, you just need to do slightly different. So I'm going to go back to the bigger stamp again, and this time I'm going to bring in Old Olive. So I'm going to have Old Olive, and again I'm going to stamp off my Old Olive. I've got some on my fingers and I don't want to get that on there, so I'm going to stamp the Old Olive off, and then bring that in there. And I want a little bit more. I'm going to twist that around. In fact, I think I'm going to come on top of it a bit like that. A bit further down. Don't worry if you've got missing bits, as I say, because we're going to go back in and there. That will cover it up now. Now for this bottom bit, I want to do a wall. So I'm just going to clean my stamp. Get rid of the old olive off there. And for my wall, I'm using the stamp out of, what's it called? Welcome Window. So I'm using Welcome Window, and it's just here. Close up my old olive and just move that out of the way for a minute. And Sahara Sand, I've left it over here. Okay, so I'm bringing in Sahara Sand now, and this is a fairly light colour, so we're just going to do this straight on. I'm going to take that, just bring that in there. So I'm going to go, you can see with it being a photopolymer, so you can see where to carry a brick wall on. I want some on the bottom here. I want it a bit higher than that. Let's go in with that one. There we go. And there. Right. So done the Sahara Sand. Right, now just let me get rid of that a minute. Come back to that. And I want to make some plants poking over the top. So I'm going to put on a piece of Post-it note to just cover my wall up, and I'm bringing in cinnamon cider. You could really use soft suede really in this case if you haven't got cinnamon cider, because it's no longer available, but or you could stamp off and use the Early Espresso. So I'm going to put some plants going different heights. There we go. So we'll leave those there. So peel that off so it stops. You can see it goes over the wall. And then I've got, let's get rid of the cinnamon cider. I've got the Peaceful Cabins, and you get these 3 stamps in a row, and I only want to use the N1, and I'm going to bring back in my old olive, and I only want to be stamping up. So I'm actually being naughty and I'm bending my stamp up a bit, and I'm going to move this on here so that I can come off the edge with that. So that's like that, and move it along a bit. There we go. And so I'm just going to do these at different heights, and then go from the top. Oops, just put that a little bit more there. So I'm going to stamp that one up there, bring this one down, bring that one back up. Okay, and then just got this one in here and put that one in the middle there. So we've got our trees coming down the hill there, and that doesn't damage my stamp in any way, what I've done, bending that little bit. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. And then, oh, did I do it? No, I did it with, I just brought in the Evening Evergreen, and I've just got the Very Versatile stamp, and I just put a little hint of something going off. So I'm stamping off and then going to put that coming down there. Okay, so it's faded. So stamp it off again, bring a little bit more of it going off there. Okay, so you've got that coming in, and I'll just do one more. Take that a bit higher there, so that that's coming in the forefront. Really, it'll be a tree that's standing here, and you've just got the leaves coming there. Okay, so ahead of time, I have stamped in Cinnamon Cider. I've stamped the little farm, barn, whatever you like to call it. So I'm going to do this in Cinnamon Cider with my Wink of Stella. So here's my Cinnamon Cider, and I've got a load on here. So I'm just going to pick this up here, and I'm just going to paint this now. There with my Wink of Stella. Okay, this will give it a, as I'm brushing across, it will give it a plank looking. There we go. And just go around these windows. Trying to keep it going all one way, really, to give the plank effect. There we go, and then that, just that little bit at the top. Now I want the door to be quite, and this edge bit to be quite dark, so I'm gonna go over and over this to make it darker, picking, not going very far before I'm picking up fresh, because I want it to be dark as I can, so it's giving that little bit more definition on there. Going down, so I'm just gonna go over that again to take it deeper. So I'm going back frequently to get that little bit darker. Okay, and the same with the bit over the door. Give it that bit more definition, and the door itself. Go over a couple of times to take it deeper. Okay, that's it. Now I just wipe off your brush, because obviously it picks it up, and you don't want to, when you do your next thing, for it to go on that. Now I normally don't do that with my ink pads, but that one was a faulty ink pad that Stampin' Up replaced me straight away, It's because when you, don't know whether you can see, but the pad's not fixed properly, so it falls down, and that's why I've got loads there. So I have got a brand new pad, but I'm not going to waste that. I'm going to use it. That was very good of Stampin' Up to replace the whole of it. So I have got a fresh one to use, but in the meantime I'm using that. Now this is the way I prefer to do it. I just always use a stamping block, and by the way, my stamping blocks, I would say 95% of my stamping blocks are from what have I just done with my, what have I done with my picture? Oh, it's here. Okay, are from kits. I use those. Okay, so I've put Sahara sand on, and all I'm going to do now is fill in all the gaps. So I'm picking it up again with my Wink of Stella, and I'm just going to fill in all these gaps now in the stonework. Don't get rid of, not where the brick's done the white, but just where the cemented go. So I'm just bringing that. Anywhere where that would be. I'm just gonna infill that. I'm going back and picking on the colour up. So it's filling my wall in. I'm about out of the colour. I'll see if I can, it will just last me. Not sure whether it will or whether I'll have to get some more. I think I'll just not risk it and get a tiny bit more. So I always do it in a different place. Never go back to the same bit because it's contaminated. So I've done this on the other side now. Seem to have picked a bit of fuzz up. It just fills it to be part of the wall. Okay, so I'll just pop that on its side out of the way, and again just go over, make sure you're getting rid of the colour off your Wink of Stella so you can use it for other things without contaminating. Right, okay, so that is that so far. Now I put some tree trunks on these. Didn't like what I did with the others, so I'm going to just do this different. I can't see those behind there, so we'll leave those. Right, now come back to our although I've cut it out with the die, I want to get rid of the white edge. Hoping you can see me cutting this. So I want to get rid of that white border. That off that edge, and then I'll not place it down yet. Now, out of the die set of On the Farm, I have cut the pigs out. Okay, so this is going to become my pond or lake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to round off and cut off the tail to start with. And the pig's ear I'm going to round off, and that's all you really need to do. And then you're going to position that wherever works. Have it either way, so I'm just going to look and see where I'm going to position my house. I think my house is going to go down there, and I might have that like that. So I'm going to glue my house on now. So that paper that I've cut my pigs out, that has turned to be my pond or lake, is the Marvelous paper that we got. What's it called? Simply Marvelous. Play on words, Simply Marvelous. So I'm gonna, let's see here, do that. Yeah, gonna put that round there like that, and then just put my ducks. Now my ducks cut out as well ahead of time, but I'm cutting off the legs because I don't want them standing, I want them swimming. So I'm going to put one kind of there and cut off the legs of this duck. And this time I'm not going to colour in. The last one I coloured them in the cinnamon cider again, but this time I'm not. So put one right at the top there, and then cut the legs off on here. Okay, and in that corner I'm going to put it, oopsie daisy, come there. Okay, so with some in there. Now I've got my Stampin' Right marker. I'm going to use the small end and just put an eye on my duck. There we go. And is that it for now? Yes, so that is my scene ready now. So I'm just going to place that on one side, and now we'll get on with our card base. So we have got a piece of Merry Merlot. I've done. Let's just take the pieces off. So I've got a piece of Merry Merlot. Oh, I didn't do. I'd got out my sponge dauber, and what I was going to do, I was going to go round Balmy Blue, round all the outside, and I've forgotten, but that's what I did want to do. So they're the 3 dies that I use. So the little chicks or ducks, the farmhouse, and the pig die. So they were the 3 dies that I used from the set. Okay, so we are going to score at, we'll place it. So again, it is 10 by 7 inches, and we're going to place it in on the 10-inch side and place it at 1 inch. So we're placing it at 1 inch, but then I'm using my score blade and I'm putting that down to the 1 inch on my ruler. So you can see that. I'm going to lift it up to show you. So you've got your card in at 1 inch, and you put in your score blade down so that that little mark there is level with your 1 inch, and you're going to bring that all the way down to your 5 inches down there. Okay, so I'm making sure, lift it up again, making sure I've got it at 1 inch there at the top, and then I'm bringing that to 1 inch on here, and I'm going to score down from my 1 inch all the way down to my 6-inch, beg your pardon, all the way down 6-inch. I probably said 5-inch then, but I meant 6-inch. So you'll have got a score line. Now it's very difficult to see on dark card, but I've got a score line from there down to there. Okay, then I'm going to move it to 2 inches and repeat the same thing. So I'm putting it in at 2 inches. I'm going to get my scoring blade on the 1 inch. So I've put it in at 2 inches, but getting my scoring blade to 1 inch. And from my 1 inch, I'm going down all the way to my 6-inch. Okay, so that's what I should have so far. So I've got that one that I did at 1 inch, that I did at 2 inches. Then I'm going to move it across to 5 inches. Now at 5 inches, I'm going to start at the top, but only go down 1 inch. So I've got it in at 5 inches, but my scoring blade is starting from the very top, and it's just going to come down 1 inch. So that's going to come down 1 inch. Going to lift it up, bring it to the bottom, and bring it up 1 inch. So that's to my 6-inch. Okay, so at the bottom, it's still on my 5 inches at the top. So it's still on my 5 inches there. And I've scored down 1 inch only, and then just lifted up my bar, come to the bottom, and scored it up just to the 6-inch mark. Okay, then I'm going to put it along and to the 6-inch mark. So at the 6-inch mark, I'm again going to, so I've got it on my 6-inch mark, and again I'm going to put it at 1 inch. So your scoring blade is at 1 inch down to your 6-inch. Okay, so you've got this one here from 1 inch down to your 6-inch. Then you've put it in at 2 inch down from 1 to 6-inch. Then you're putting it in at 5 inch and just scoring it down to 1 inch, and then scoring it up 1 inch, which is to your 6-inch mark. You are then going to put it in at 6 inches and score it down from the 1 inch mark down to the 6-inch mark. Then you're going to put it to 7.5, and you're going to score this all the way down. Okay, so that's scored all the way down. You're then going to turn it and put it, your short side now, with your 2 score lines at the top. So the 2 score lines at the top, you're putting it in at 1 inch, and you're bringing your cutting blade to that first score line. So you're going to line that up with that first score line, and you're going to cut from that first score line down to your so you're going through, starting with your 1 inch score line. So that's where your 1 inch score line is. You're going to do the 1 inch, you cut in, make sure you've got it in at your 1 inch. It's going to go from that first score line, so you're lining it up. It's going to go through the second score line and just down to the third score line and stop. So I've gone from that score line there, passing that score line there, down to this score line, not this bottom one. Okay, then I'm going to lift it up and put it at 6 inches or 1 inch or 1 inch on the other side. So let's do it 1 inch on the other side. So you're going to put it 1 inch on the other side, and that first score line, you're going to cut from that first score line, going through the second score line, all the way down to the third score line, stopping on that third score line. So I've stopped on that third score line, not cutting down to this. So you're ignoring that, it's just there. Okay, so that's all the cutting we need to do. So now I'm going to start by making sure that none of these edges are stuck up, and go over my cutting line. So I'm going over that cutting line, flattening it down again, just making sure that you've got it all straight. Now, before I go any further, I'm just going to show you how I cut this out. So I'm just going to put it back at my 11 3/4 by it's 8 1/4. Sorry, my mind's gone blank. So what I tend to do is cut first at the 7-inch all the way down, so that you get this long strip. Why I do that is because this long strip could be used as a belly band on another project. Okay, and then I turn it sideways to cut off the smaller bit. So that was just a tip for you to save for a belly band. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend this whole score line. I'm going to bend that one up, just make sure that it matches, and give that a good crease down like that. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Then I'm going to gently tuck this down so that it's a mounting fold, and then the next one along I'm going to make it a valley fold. So there we go. So just gently, and then this one is also going to be a mounting fold. So the two outer ones are going to be mounting folds, and just slightly easing them, and then the last one will be a valley fold. So I'm just going to bring that down like that, and then push these. So what I did is I folded that one first, then I've done a mounting fold, a valley fold, two mounting folds, and then a mounting fold here. And then I'm going to bring that across so that it goes down like that, and I'm just going to go along there to score it and make it go down a bit, then bring the rest of it forward and down so that we get in these done there, and bring this down here to crease it, and then I'm going to go on the back and crease this down here, done that bit. So I'm going to turn it over, go in there, so that I'm really giving these good creases so we have nice thick card, and then that's how it will open and close. Okay, so as I say, just make sure you've got all this right. Okay, right, now we've got everything creased, we're going to start and place our mats on. So first of all, I'm going to put my mat and layers on to this back part. So your first part, I've used 2 lots of DSP. You could use card for this one if you wanted. Our card's very thick, so I decided not to do 2 lots of card. I decided to make it lighter and thinner, and so I've just done DSP on DSP. So of course this is the free DSP on the farm. that goes with On the Farm. And this piece of DSP is 2¼ so 2¼ by 6 3/4. No, sorry, 2 3/8 by 6 7/8. Sorry, this is the one that is 2 1/4 by 6 3/4. So it's your DSP. I'm gonna bring that in there. Okay, and then the front one, we have got 7/8 by 6 7/8. So this is your mat to put straight on your card. So equal increments all the way round. There. And then this one is 3/4 by 6 3/4. That's going to go on the top. Okay. That's going to go on the top with equal increments. And then these two, now you want 2 pieces of these because the top and the bottom are the same. So what you want is a piece that is 3 7/8 by 7/8. So this is 3 7/8 by 2 7/8. So just checking for equal increments all the way around. And then this piece, so you want 2 of those and then 2 of these. So this is 3 3/4, sorry, 3 3/4 by 3/4. Oops, that one, let's see if that one's the same. What have I done? I've cut them the same length. I need to take a bit off these. So they should be what I've told you, and I've obviously measured them wrong. So let's double check that. So that should be 2 3/4. No, 3 3/4. Sorry, 3 3/4. So I need to take that off. And then I can stick that back on here. That's better. That's out by 1/8 of an inch. Okay, let's see if I've got the sticky off that enough. So I don't want to stick up my trimmer. So there we go. So let's just bring that in. So that's 3 3/4. It should be by 3/4. So take that 1/8 off. Bring that back in. I should have my bit to go on there. So I don't know whether I said it's Mary Merlot that I'm working with. I never worked with Mary Merlot, so it's made quite a nice change to pull this out of the neutrals. Now, there we go. And now glue this piece again. Okay, and then we've got our background piece, and this measures 3 7/8 by 4 7/8. So there's 3 7/8 by 4 7/8. Okay. And then put equal increments. All the way around. And then we've got our seam piece now that's going to go on the top. So again, if you have forgotten what it was 3 3/4 by 4 3/4 to go on top. Make sure we've got an equal increment. Now I've put it all together, I've got the happy birthday. So I just see where I want my happy birthday to go. And I like that at a nice slant. So this is just a happy birthday that I've got. Got this before I joined Stampin' Up. I did years. And what I've decided to do with this is I always put too much glue on. So I'm just going to go over with the birthday. Whoops. On the top and sneak some of this glue onto the birthday bit. Okay, so hopefully that's picked enough up on the birthday. I'm going to get rid of some of our glue strings and just hover them back now. There, I think I'll put that about there. So that's how it folds down. And then for the back, I'm going to leave it plain for the moment, but I'll put a sentiment on at a later date. But this is the same. This is 3 3/4 by 4 3/4, or you could make it smaller if you wanted to, but that's just going to sit in there for my sentiment at a later date. Okay, so there we've got our nice happy birthday card, and then here's the one I did earlier. So we've got the two side by side, so we've got slightly different. As I say, you won't make it exactly the same if you make two of them. I think I've more or less have put them in similar positions, but that's just how it's fell. So I hope you liked that. Give me a thumbs up if you did. As I continue my fun fold mail cards, because we always seem to be struggling for mail cards. So as I say, I hope you like that. Do appreciate those of you who subscribe to me. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and press the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads of mine. So thank you very much for dropping by. Do appreciate it. Stay safe, stay well. Bye for now.